What's up, guys? So the purpose of this nutritional video is to cover an eating habit that I've personally been following for a very long time, probably 5+ years now. And I figured if it's worked out great for me, then there's probably someone else out there that wouldn't mind plugging it in or giving it a shot with what they're currently doing. Before I move on, I'm not about to introduce a new, fad diet or something that there's no research behind or anything like that. This is very easy to implement. There's plenty of research out there proving that what I'm about to go over is a healthy lifestyle change and something that you should be doing anyways. But the way that I'm doing is it just simplifies it. You don't have to think too hard. It's just one thing that you're thinking about, and it can be on your mind all day long as far as the way your food selection goes. And so, moving forward, there's a couple things we need to know before we talk about the foods that we're going to talk about, and one is antioxidants and free radicals, and both go hand in hand. And so maybe you've heard of free radicals, maybe you haven't, but free radicals are caused by really life. Our body creates them. A lot of unhealthy habits out there create these as well. Fast food, really just unhealthy foods are going to cause free radicals in your body. Smoking, drinking, stuff like that. Air pollution is going to cause free radicals. But even if you're the healthiest person out there, you've got it dialed in, you got it going on, you still got free radicals going on inside your body. So the only way that we can get rid of free radicals in a healthy way is by ingesting antioxidants. And so antioxidants coming in are going to bind with these free radicals and eliminate these free radicals from causing problems inside of our body, at least on a high level. And so the way free radicals work is if there's not an antioxidant to bind to, they're going to bind to something that we don't want and tear it up. And so healthy cells, stuff like that inside of our body, free radicals will bind to those if there's not an antioxidant to bind to, and then that's what we don't want, okay? And so if you're like me, the first time that I heard this, I freaked out. I was like, well, what do I do? How do I get rid of free radicals? Well, you can't get rid of all of them, but we can definitely do our best to eliminate, the problems that they are causing inside of our body. And that's by, taking in antioxidants as much as we can. And so that's the light bulb that clicked for me when I first heard, the background on antioxidants and free radicals was, well, I got to take in free radicals, or I got to take in antioxidants as much as I can. And so that's what I started doing. And then I started thinking, well, this is really simple to follow. Most of the foods high in antioxidants you should be eating anyways. And so instead of thinking like, what should I have? What should I eat? How many carbs? How many grams of protein? Nothing wrong with tracking your macros. You can get to that later. But a lot of times that's overwhelming for someone. You gotta count how many grams, carbohydrates, all this stuff. You're probably gonna come out pretty well if you just focus on how many antioxidants are in this meal that I'm having right now. And then over time, once you get that dialed in, what you're actually eating is probably gonna be, pretty good as far as macros go. And then you can tweak from there. You can add some protein, take down some carbs, add carbs, whatever you need to do from that point. But this just really simplified things for me. I have a pretty good idea of how many calories I take in any day anyways. And so it's not that I'm not counting, it's just I have a pretty good idea of the foods that I'm currently eating or how many calories that I'm taking in. And so that's why I don't stress too much over macros or calorie counting. But I do really focus on how many antioxidants are in the meal that I'm currently having. And so the way I do that is, when I eat breakfast in the morning, I make sure, me personally, I have, a cup to 2 cups of wild blueberries, which are high in antioxidants. We're gonna go over a list in a moment. I make sure there's something high in antioxidants in that meal. And then for my next snack, I make sure, I have a dried fruit in my next snack, cranberries, high in antioxidants. And so I think of my antioxidant tank as it's got a slow drip on it all day long. And if I don't refill it, it's gonna empty, and then the free radicals that we talked about earlier are gonna have their way in my body. That's the cartoon in my brain that goes off, or the way that I see it. And so it really helps me every single meal. I just make sure, even if, if I'm traveling or something like that, I think of 2 things. I think of antioxidants. I see, how do I get that in first? And then, I'll start thinking about things like protein, carbs, and stuff like that after the fact. And so the reason I follow this is I really think it's linked to my health and the fact that I don't have to go to the doctor very often. It's probably been 5+ years since I've had to visit the doctor. I think it has a lot to do with that. I'm not saying that it's directly linked and that is the reason why, but I would guess that, I strongly believe that it has something to do with this, the way that I've been eating over the past 5+ years or so. And so a couple of foods that are high in antioxidants, beans, specifically red beans, black beans, pinto beans. You've got blueberries, blackberries, strawberries, and this isn't some like secret list somewhere that's hard to find. If you just Google foods high in antioxidants, it's gonna pop up something easy to follow. You can literally go to the grocery store this weekend, buy these, keep them in your freezer if it's the fruit, even your vegetables, keep them in the freezer, and when it's time to eat them, you toss them into the meals. And so, again, it's really easy. Take the 4 meals that you're currently eating, take a look at them, see what the antioxidant content is in them, all right? A lot of times, it's pretty low, all right? You'll go, ooh, probably, I'm really not eating a lot of antioxidants. And so it's real simple. Just add a cup or two of whatever it is that you find. Make sure it's something that you like. Don't just take the top, 10 that you see because they're the best and try to force them down, okay? Pick the ones that you like. Make those a staple in your diet moving forward, okay? I do this every morning. I think about it throughout the day. I make sure it's all scheduled and that. But the good news is a lot of this stuff can just sit in your fridge, in the freezer, and so you don't have to worry about it going bad, spending money on it, and not using it because it's gonna go bad early. So stuff like that, it's really simple, okay? So give this a shot. It may, relieve some stress on some of the macro counting and the calorie counting if you want to take a break from that for a little bit, or if not, this is easy to plug right into it. And then another thing I wanted to cover is if you're really dialed in on your macros, you got a good thing going, maybe you're on a weight loss journey and it's working and you don't want to fool with this anymore, but you're like, I want to get my antioxidants up, all right? A lot of things like wild blueberries, your blackberries, your raspberries, those aren't really high in calories anyways. And so you can add those in and not stress about the fact of, oh, my carbs are super high now, or oh, my protein's low, or my protein's too high now. It can be something really easily implemented without, shaking up too many other things. All right, so that's it. It's simple as that. Every time you eat, make sure your antioxidants are as high as possible. It's just kind of a new way of thinking, and it might just open up your mind a little bit and give you some different options as far as food choices go throughout the day. All right. So if you try it, leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. I would love to hear any kind of